Hello, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the journey to the tarot. And I can't remember which session is this one, but anyway, after looking into last time we looked into numerology and numerology, how to find our birth card, which is something quite interesting. I looked into my own, and there was um hello Rosalind, hello. I'm not doing readings this evening. This is a session of purposes informative purposes. And yes, numerology, I looked into, the archetypes, astrology, how the tarot deck, especially the Rider Waite, is linked to the Order of the Golden Dawn and the Kabbalah. This evening, we looked into the suits, the four suits, how the suits are linked to the elementals, the planets. Anyway, I will do. Hello, Christine. Hello. I will do mm, summary of everything I went through in the end. And um, this evening, I would like to start exploring, yes, because even there, the court cards. I'm using the word start because this evening I will, it's important to know the origins of things to understand. Hello, K Wizzy, and love yourself first. Hello, thank you for joining this evening. Um, in my opinion, hello, Stace. Hi. In my opinion, it's important to know the origins of the things, of everything, uh, what we are studying, to know how, why they are, today they are what they are. And this is applies, to the court cards as well. And as usual, my aim here is not to boring you with information that might not be relevant. My aim is actually to bring to your attention, the information that um, make us understand how and why the court cards were added to a tarot deck in the same way. I went through the history of the creation of the tarot deck to understand why and how. Hello, Lucy. Thank you for joining. Why and how the major arcana were added to a normal playing card deck. And I would like to do the same with the court cards. Simply that. Um, for a start, and I don't think I'm going to I will be able to cover this topic in 1 hour this evening. So the tarot court cards represent basically um, four sets of royal couples. In the 17th century, in England, they were called court court cards because of uh, because of the elegance of the clothing and um, worn by the figure depicted. And in Italy and in France, where the tarot were became very famous at first, they were called. Well, this is an Italian word. It is not really figura or figure cards. Um, and basically, they the court card represents four ranks of you know of power, and they basically bring us back to the feudal times, where basically there was the king who had the major, was the most powerful figure in the castle. So we are talking here about the medieval times, and that's originally what mm, where the court cards are inspired, but there are also other sources, and we'll get there next week. It's not only the medieval times, but also a new interpretation, more modern interpretation of the court cards. See the court cards as family members. We'll get there. Now let's cover a little bit the origins uh, of um, of the court cards, and you you will be surprised, um, because the early history of the court cards, we can is it can be found with um, you know an ordinary in the face card of an ordinary plain deck. But um, in order to understand the meaning of the court card, um, it is important to know, to have a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of understanding of the origins of the playing card deck. So that's where I'm starting from. And the playing card deck, um, playing cards deck have an Asian origin, and basically they descend from a Chinese mm, cards um, that somehow not somehow through two trades, trades and merchants in the old times. They reached the Mongolia, the Mongol conquerors, and through the Mongol conquerors and Persia, um, they arrived in the Western Europe in the 14th century. For example, uh, one a popular game of cards in China was the domino cards, and basically was a game that the emperor would play with his wife. And in this deck there were different, what we can define today, different suits, and also um, the cards were named with um, as flowers and different colors. In for example, in this domino game, there was the red flowers card, uh, and in this cards, quite often there was a male figure depicted, called Wang, which means king. So we see how um, you know the beginning, the figure of the king starts showing up uh, in um in a not a tarot deck, in a playing card deck. And going a little bit um, back, um, the in the 11th century there was a nomad tribe called the, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, uh, Silux. They originated from what is nowadays known as Kazakhstan. And this tribe conquered Persia, and part of Asia, and both of Asia Minor and Northern Africa. Um, and then by the 13th century, the great Mongol leaders, Genghis Khan, I think, I don't know if this is Genghis Khan, should be in English, and his grandnephew, um, Kublai Khan, extended their empire till China. So um, this, let's call it merging of empires with China, and also with Persian. Um, it's probably through this merging of with the empires of China and Persia that the cards, the playing cards, um, came, arrived to Persia. and their appearance at the beginning of the 13th and the 14th centuries. Um, and it's also thought that um, they might have been brought till India too. So, because it has been found a game of card that was played in India. Um, Please bear with me with the pronunciation of the different games from the different countries. Um, and this is what in India was called the Ganjifa. Um, in Persia, instead, the Ganjife. Uh, um, and we find the same, nearly the same word in Arabic countries and in Egypt too. And was called Khan Jifa, with the K, with a K instead of a G. So, what happens? Sorry, there are quite a bit of history facts here, but they are relevant. Um, the the Mongol rulers, um, they they developed warriors. They trained warriors, warrior slaves, who you know they were abducted children, basically. um, this part is quite interesting, actually. uh, they were abducted children from of a Christian religion. They were converted then to Islam, um, and sent to the North African coast. And these warriors were called Mamluks, and which Mamluks, which means subdued slaves, basically. And by 1250, the the Mamluks had um, they overthrown Saladin's Mongol, uh, and in Egypt, and they ruled till 1517. Um, and these warriors, these Mamluks, um, they had um, a deck, a card deck made of 52 cards, um, with um, 52 cards with four suits. And the four suits were swords, uh, polo sticks, the basically the sticks that you would find in the game, the polo game, and cups and coins, and they were numbered from 1 to 10. Um, in addition to these four suits, there were also three court cards. Um, and they were called Malik. Malik was the king, means king, and Mahi means vice king or deputy, and Tani Naib, Tani Naib um, was like a second deputy. Um, and basically the term to refer to the playing cards that was used was the word naib. um, and also we find the same term in Spain, because, as you know, Spain was dominated for 800 years by the Moors, which is an Arabic population, and they dominated Spain until 1492. Anyway, and even if you go and visit Spain, you can see still the you know the domination, in the architecture, and even in the Spanish language. Anyway, moving forward. um, and basically this term was used to refer to playing cards in general. We find that a similar term um, in Italy also, because there was the Arabic influence. There was an Arabic influence in Italy as well. um, and then they were called in Italy, they were called the naibi, in Spain naipes. So um, mm, this uh, this playing cards, um, it's most likely that the warriors, the Maluks, is likely that they brought these cards from Persia, um, and they arrived in Europe through Spain. Um, and basically the first place in Spain where it has been recalled of the use of these playing cards is Catalonia, which Catalonia is um, that was where the playing cards appeared first, where they were used um, they were used first, and it's funny how this information are oftentimes there's not a record of we can find them through writers that mention them in their writings, in their poetry, um, uh, because in the social in those times, bards and poets, they socially maybe they were not very well regarded, uh, but we can look at them as those those who recorded in their poetry, um, information that maybe we wouldn't be able to find elsewhere. And anyway, there's an example also of an Italian poet. And I was very surprised to read that, because I'm you know I'm Italian. I studied in Italy, and I didn't know that this poet was also mentioned in one of his writings, the court cards. Anyway, moving on, we are already half an hour, and so basically, the word naive playing card um, appeared in Catalonia, and in a rhyming dictionary in 1371, and from in between the years 1377 and 79, um, uh, many records of playing cards appear in many European cities, and they were described as a new game. And mm, when this new game arrived in Europe, um, the first thing that happened is that the depiction and the designs were adapted um, to reflect the European culture. So the original deck of the Malmuk warriors, they were changed to into the figures was changed to adapt to the European, to our culture. um the Persian suit of um of the polo sticks, was was not familiar to Europe. So because nobody played polo here, at least back then, and nowadays is different. So and by the way, during those time, the game of polo was known as the game of the kings. So basically, um, and in Italy, for example, the the change of design reflected the culture of that that era, which which was very aristocratic and mm, and they were called um, batons, or in Italian bastoni, which had the meaning was a very a ceremonial meaning. Um, so not it was not a way to kind of degrade, uh, but had, you know, a ceremonial meaning. In in Spain instead, um, um, yes, stays still is. Um, it was a game for aristocrats, no doubt, and that's also the, you know, the origin of the tarocchi or triumph. They were created basically commissioned commissioned by the Duke of Milan. So they were basically um, 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 so the Persian and Mamluk court cards, they didn't depict images of people because it was against the laws. Um, but they were showing elaborated patterns, with, you know, elaborated patterns with the name of the court. um yeah, I know that in England, yes, I know in England the polo is a very popular is a popular game. And actually England has a very good uh, a very good um, mm, uh, what is called a very good team playing polo. Okay, basically, and they were used elaborated patterns with the name of the card and the name at the bottom of the cards. And instead, in the Western Europe, uh, Christian Europe, because unfortunately um, back then the church was very much present. Um, those were, you know, the patterns were replaced with images of male and you know, female figures, uh, taken from three ranks of the feudal and the military hierarchy. Um, so a king, one you know, sitting down, and one wearing a crown, um, a knight on a horse, and then the page, the page that was the page basically represents the soldier who is on the soldier on the ground. What was missing was basically the queen. The queen was added at a later stage, and by the beginning of the 1400s, uh, um, French, French, German, and Italian car makers. Um, they were basically producing, designing this you know this deck card with changing the suits and um, adding adding also the court cards. And um, at times there were the queens were basically um, mm, were appearing, replacing the knight or the king. Um, and what we know probably added later because none of the queens lived stays. Another explanation, which is, you know, as usual, we are women are put. Back then, it was a very patriarchal society. So, as I said already in one session, women were considered the queen. The queen basically was, a king had to, marry uh, a, a king married a woman, especially to ensure a heir. That that's what women were considered. That's what how important women were back, especially now seriously going back during those times. The society that was a solid and strong and patriarchal. So that's I I strong. And anyway, I read it as well, that was the main reason why the queen were not added um, since the beginning. If we go back to the first playing card deck that I mentioned, the Chinese one, the domino playing cards, the sources that I found, they clearly mention that there was only a male figure, and that the male figure in Chinese, the name was Wang, which means mean king. Um, uh, Hello, hi Tim. So basically, um, mm, 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 basically, um, if we think about um, the castle, the typical castle, the hierarchy, the court card, the highest, the male court card, the highest is the, you know, the king, then we have the knight, and the soldiers, and that's how they were. Um, okay, stays okay. That's fine. And okay. So basically, around this time, that the tarot decks, um, with the additional trumps, or triumphing, um, began appearing. They appeared in the north of Italy. I know that we have covered this already. um, and the nobility was represented in the card. Uh, um, the number, mm, the number was varying till um, six court card uh, per suit, because we know that there are in a tarot deck there are 16 court cards, and each one represent a suit. And instead, at the beginning, there were six cards per suit, instead of four. um, um, mm, mm, mm. And this you know and this it's thought, it is believed, that the the court card, the queen, is made uh, its first appearance in the tarot deck that was commissioned in Italy, whereas before, you know um, well, the hierophant was obviously, and is very um, empire. The hierophant, the which the is the old card. Um, Hello, Tanya. The Pope was, mm, back in those times. The church had a strong grip, so it was a way of uh, it was a way of ridiculing the church. That's where the hierophant comes from, and that's the purpose of the creation of the hierophant was that, to ridicule the church. Was not, then it changed, meaning. It was given a different meaning later on, but when it was designed to ridicule the church, basically. Um so um, so basically, the court by the end, in the 15th century, the queen was added to the caro, to the court cards in Italy. um, um, there are no records for that, and even the oldest deck that is known is the one that was commissioned by the Duke of Milan. And mm, they were they were mm, it's it's possible during when the the tarot deck was commissioned by the Duke of Milan. It is possible, that uh, the court, it happened all in a um, mm, different way. It is possible that the court cards uh, inspired the creation or the addition of the major arcanas, or the trumps, the triumphi, how they were called back then, and not vice versa. um, uh, in the 15th century, a series of tarot like engravings, and um, mm, that were known how the tarocchi of Mantegna. um, they had 10 of 10 of the 50 designs. They were basically, um, um, they depict court cards. They were basically ranks of the European, of the society. And here we are in the 15th century now. So basically, we had the beggar, which is known today as the fool, the servant, the artisan, and the merchant, the gentleman, the knight, and the duke, the king, the emperor, um, and the pope. And if you think about it, um, these are all the original figures used, that later became the major arcana. Um, is fascinating, isn't it? How things evolve, how things are linked uh, to the trend of society, of the culture, and even if you think about um, the major arcana, the hierophant, the way to respond to tyranny, and it was very, very common in courts to write play, and we know that Shakespeare did it as well, and other poets, when they wanted to, um, mm, uh, like, let's say, complain against the ruler, or talking about the society. They would write a play, or they would write. If you We think about also Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That also, it's a representation of the society. Who else? And this is what happened with the tarot deck. They were representing actually real figures in the society, and then they were turned into the major arcana. um and the higher cards of the Mantegna series, um, uh, they have also parallels in the tarot trumps, like the virtues of fortitude, which is the strength arcana, temperance uh, and justice, um, are you know temperance and justice are there, as are the moon and the sun, the moon and the star, uh, um, and these highest and the highest cards, um, like mm, and we can mm, think about uh, creative people, which back then it was the society painting of artists, sculptors, painters, artists. It was the society of artists, where the Renaissance and the society was coming out of the Dark Ages. Society was in a rebirth phase, and artists were creating the most magnificent uh, mm, theme paintings and the sculpture to make everything beautiful, pompous. Everything was, there was um, a shift from um, lack of everything during the Dark Ages, during the medieval times, to this beauty. And so imagine these artists, also with regard to the creation of in the early 15th century, being interested in the you know in the society social status, in the society hierarchy, um, which is, it's depicted um, in the court card of this new game that became famous in courts, because it was basically the trend of that moment. It would be like something that is the trend of the moment. No, nowadays, I mean, human nature doesn't change. And um, so, imagine if the deck would have become even more powerful, if figures like the emperor or the pope were included, um, and also like um, forces of the universe, like uh, love, death, um, the devil, the Christian virtues. Um, I know that this is moving a little bit away from the court cards, and but also give us um, not the flavor, uh, give us the how uh, the dynamics of how a simple, not a simple, a plain card deck turned into um, um, a tarocchi a tarocchi deck, a tarot deck, sorry, turned into a tarot deck, and how the the origins as well uh, can be undeniably found in the deck itself. Now, because I'm looking at this from I decided um, to use the Rider Waite tarot deck. Um, of course, I have to um, highlight and pinpoint the traditions that are included in the tarot in the Rider Waite. But there are many decks other than this one. This one is the the most famous, where there can be still there can be found um, the origins that were brought forward from the Chinese, the Egyptian tradition, which anyway they are present in the Rider Waite. Some of them, the Egyptian, especially the Egyptian, were kept, and I touched upon that on the symbology last Monday. Even though there's more to be said about the symbology as well. Um, but um, this is this is what this session with this session I wanted you to introduce um, mm, introduce how the court, how the playing card, how a playing card could turn into a tarot deck, how the court card were introduced. What basically they were already there before the major arcana. The major arcana were introduced later, and it was all a way of innovation. Innovation by artists. Um, they were, artists of the Renaissance, because they were society, all world, you know, especially in Europe, was coming out of the Dark Ages. And the Renaissance is a very important time during the the European history, because there was a rebirth of society, a rebirth for the arts, a rebirth for the literature. So it's not surprising that even poets, writers, philosophers, they were all giving their contribution for the rebirth, for this rebirth of the society. Okay, now I um I would love I like to stop here, and then next week, next Monday, moving forward, and going in depth solely on on the court cards. But I think this is has been a nice introduction, and there's also a lot that can be taken from this from this session. Anyway, okay, thank you everybody for those who joined. Thank you to those who joined the live session. If you want to catch up with the previous one, you can find them on the channel, on the YouTube channel, Find Me a Medium. And I would like to thank again Veronica for and giving me the opportunity to do this. And uh, you're very welcome, Stace. And I'll see you. I'll see you again on the Saturday for the mini readings. And in case anyone would be interested in having a private sitting with me, you can contact me, and is completely free. Is just uh, it's a 15 minutes private sitting. Okay. Uh, Thank you very much, everybody, and see you on Saturday at 9 o'clock UK time. Bye. Take care and have a nice week ahead.